start Raw this week with a recap from Fastlane, and just like Goldberg's Survivor Series match, the video package actually lasted longer than the match. Nice one. And as I mentioned on the Fastlane, putting it bluntly last night, it just seemed like Fastlane was just an advert for WrestleMania, and this seems evident again for Raw because WrestleMania is mentioned before the words Monday Night Raw. It's just fucking relentless. Now that we're live, we're graced with the gift of Jericho. Jericho comes out and gloats about how he's just cost Kevin Owens the championship at Fastlane. But he says and shows just how much of a sad panda he is because of his friendship falling to pieces and Kevin Owens' betrayal. So he asks Owens to come out and answer why. Kevin Owens reluctantly obliges and says that Jericho was never his best friend anyway. He was just a tool that he used as and when he was needed, and when he accepted Goldberg's challenge, it just reached the point of no return to be of any use to Owens whatsoever. So Jericho challenges him to a match at WrestleMania, and Owens says it's on if the championship's up for grabs because, title for title, he wants to cost Jericho something as well. Jericho obviously accepts, and it's on. They both wonder why they have to wait that long before they get their hands on each other, so Owens runs into the ring and they start scrapping. But then Samoa Joe appears, jumps Jericho, they beat on him for a bit, and then Sami Zayn makes the save with a chair, since Zayn and Joe have been feuding recently. After we come back from the break, we've got an impromptu match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It's the same old between them, nice little quick match to open up the show. Later on tonight, Chris Jericho faces Samoa Joe, Goldberg gives his I'm the new champ speech, Neville faces Rich Swann for the Cruiserweight Championship, but first, it's time to plug WrestleMania, and people that can't use the English language properly. Austin Aries' package pokes fun at Roman Reigns' The Guy promo, and it puts a smile on Corey Graves' face. The package itself also pleases my eyes and ears too. This leads on to a match between Neville and Rich Swann for the Cruiserweight Championship. It's a great match, both lads play the parts well. At the end of the match, Swann went for the Phoenix Splash, but Neville dodged it. He only got a 2 count, but then as Swann kicked out, he made him tap with the Rings of Saturn. After the match, Austin Aries interviews Neville. The crowd were chanting for Austin Aries during the match, and they're even going nuts for him now. Neville tries to steer the promo, he gloats about all the accomplishments he's achieved, and then Austin Aries leads the crowd to antagonise Neville by chanting for himself again. Neville scoffs at the idea of Austin Aries challenging him for his championship and at Aries' ability, and tells him to do one whilst getting in his face. Aries feels pushed and he leaves Neville out. The crowd go absolutely mental. It's the most engaged the crowd have been while the Purple Roats have been on. I get another little surprise now when I'm actually entertained. Enzo and Kaz are backstage discussing their loss at Fastlane last night. They bump into Sheamus and Cesaro, and we have quite a nice little bit of banter between them. I'm guessing that they've lost the usual script. For now. Now we get to hear what Bill Goldberg has to say after becoming the WWE Universal Champion last night. That is after another WrestleMania advert, of course. He gets a bit of a reaction from the crowd at the beginning, but mostly that just turns to boos once he's in the ring and starts talking. When the crowd stop giving him grief, they start chanting for CM Punk, which is still giving him grief, but he jumps on board because he doesn't really know what to do. So he says that he can get behind that chant, but then Paul Heyman makes the save. Well, I say Paul Heyman makes a save. I'm guessing someone backstage just pushed him through the curtain. But anyway, Heyman comes out and distracts the crowd, draws their attention. He then brings out his beast, and then Brock and Goldberg get nose to nose in the ring. Heyman continues to lead the conversation, and then he draws Goldberg's attention over his shoulder. The second Goldberg takes his eyes off Brock, Brock jumps him, hits him with an F5, and then they both skip away laughing. Yeah, speak for yourself, Michael Cole. Fucking much anticipated matchup between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. Pfft. Which is leading into Braun Strowman's finish what they started segment later on in the night. Coming up next, we've got Enzo and Kaz versus The Club in a rematch for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And then we find out that John Cena's won some kind of award for being the celebrity least likely to do something sinister to your children if left unattended with them. During the match between Enzo and Kaz and Gallows and Anderson, Cesaro decides to join them ringside and have a watch. Enzo sends Gallows to the outside and dives after him, but then as he stands up and celebrates, he ends up knocking Cesaro's coffee all over him. This pisses Cesaro off, Cesaro runs in the ring, swings, Enzo ducks and Anderson gets smacked in the face. This causes a disqualification. All 6 blokes are in the ring, and then, oh, beautiful. Enzo ends up on Cesaro's back, Cesaro grabs Enzo and holds his face in place, and Sheamus just brutalises Enzo with a bro kick. This week's announcement for the Hall of Fame is Ravishing Rick Rude, yet another person that I'm surprised isn't in it already. Later on tonight, Bayley babbles on about something, and then we see Mick Foley backstage stood between Cesaro and Enzo and Kaz. Foley wants them to settle the differences in the ring, so he makes a match for next week, and the winner faces the champs at WrestleMania. And then Stephanie drags her lady balls into the shot and tells Foley to follow her to her office right now. No Austin Aries at the announce table at the moment because of what happened earlier, which we're showing a recap of. And then Akira Tozawa defeats Arya Daivari with that lovely Japanese German suplex for the win. After the match, Tozawa gets on the mic and calls out the Brian Kendrick. Kendrick comes out and says he'll answer his demands on 205 Live. We move on to the New Day, who come out with their New Day pop cycle. Joy. And Big E's still wasted. Off his face, fuck knows what's going on with him, where they're going with it, I have no idea. They make very light work of the Shining Stars again, and then they pedal off into the sunset. Here at the WWE, we'd like to celebrate Women's History Month. And by celebrate, we mean show you the time we made Trish Stratus bark like a dog, and the time Lita was slut-shamed. Enjoy, women. Yay!
Hey up, me again. So I was washing my tackle backstage with Steph. Yeah, we were using her executive bidet. And I heard you mouthing off and bragging. I had it bloody won last week, and I were robbed. Anyway, Steph's on her way now. She was halfway through shaving her balls as I left.
Oh, fucking hell, give it a rest, will ya?
Here she is.
All right, you can all stop it right there. I am the authority around here, and what I say go. What does this little bastard want?
Excuse me, can we have some more CM Punk, please, Mrs. Authority? We had some a little while ago. We quite like him. We'd like some.
No, you fucking can't. We'll tell you what you fucking want. Now shut up, stop being stupid, and enjoy some divas parading around as women wrestlers, you little shit.
Well, since Snickers have paid to sponsor this year's WrestleMania, we've jumped back in time to 1985 so they can stick their names on that one too. Once we come back to 2017, the referee stood in the ring waiting quite awkwardly before he can ring the bell once the ads have finished. Despite my usual mockery, the in-ring action was a lot better here. I'm guessing because nobody had to carry Charlotte and these two lasses were the better two of the four horsewomen. But reality sinks in, and sadly Charlotte's shrieking on the commentary table for the majority of the match, and then she jumps them both and stands tall at the end. So after Sasha made Bayley tap, we now have a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Michael Cole lies once again about how much anticipation there was for the match between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman at Fastlane, and they show us some highlights again. Thank you very much, we really enjoy them. We then go to Charles the Dwarf backstage with Roman Reigns, and Roman says he has no problem with Braun Strowman's challenge, and he'll be waiting in the ring at the end of the show. Seth Rollins tries to tug at our heartstrings once again, following a video package for his feud with Triple H. We get to have a look at his rehab schedule and all the hard work he's putting in to get folk behind him, even though he admitted he was a bit of a prick in the past and that he deserves all of this. And then we get Triple H appearing via satellite, and the first thing he does, he have a dig at CM Punk just like his missus did earlier, indirectly of course, but being in Chicago, he said that their doctors are the best in the world. So this is either a work or they're just really daft and they just need to let it go. Regarding the actual storyline and what is actually meant to be selling, he just repeats his threat to Seth about WrestleMania, saying that if he turns up, he'll end him forever. They've gone flip reverse the whole Emelina thing, and they're bringing back Emma with a nice little video package. Don't know when she's returning, hopefully it's not going to be another 17 weeks, because that's just going to be way too drawn out and everyone's going to be fed up. But yeah, bring her back like this, have a kick-ass, she doesn't need to get her tits out, she's a great little worker. Good stuff. We now move on to Samoa Joe versus Chris Jericho. Samoa Joe uses about as much effort as he did against Cesaro last week. Joe ends up luring Jericho to the outside, sneaks the rear naked choke on, and then jumps back in the ring just before the 10 count. After the match, Joe tries to throw Jericho into the ring to add a bit more insult to injury, but then Jericho fends him off with a code breaker out of nowhere. We see Braun Strowman on the way for the highly anticipated calling out of Roman Reigns. Ooh, 205 Live. Austin Aries is going to address Neville. Ooh, no, I'm still not watching it. Next week, we've got a #1 contenders match for the Tag Team Championships between Enzo and Kaz and Cesaro. And that just leaves us with our main event. Braun Strowman comes out and barks for Roman Reigns to come out and play. He's not daft though, he gets on with the crowd and says that they don't like Roman, and neither does he. Finally, Roman Reigns' music starts, but... dong! We get the Undertaker out instead. Eventually. Taker and Strowman have a bit of a stare down, and Berserker Braun backs off through the crowd. And then it looks like things are going to finish up, the Undertaker's music restarts, but Roman Reigns' music cuts his music off that time. Roman gets in the Undertaker's face and said that Strowman called him out, and not the Undertaker's, and that this isn't his yard anymore. The Undertaker challenged Roman to a match at WrestleMania, via the means of slowly looking at the sign and then looking back at Roman. Just as Roman re-establishes eye contact with the Undertaker, the Undertaker grabs him by the throat, hits him with a chokeslam, and leaves. The crowd absolutely loved it. Me, on the other hand, I'm left a little bit underwhelmed like I was last week, because we've pushed aside a potentially great match for a non-wrestling segment and people talking. Alright, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle, but we're mostly waiting for the Undertaker to fucking walk down the ramp. Not amused.
That's enough out of me for the time being. If you'd like to ask me questions or leave me abuse, I can be found on Twitter @BluntDamage. If you'd like to leave a comment with the video, you can follow the link in the description to the Botchamania site and do so there. And while you're on the Botchamania site, you can check out 10 quality years of Botchamania. Obviously, the entire backlog of my Raw Rant all the way back to my written pieces, Vinny's midweek wrestling write-ups, and a shit ton more great stuff to keep you busy on the site. Also, if you like my theme music, the band are The Colour Fire, they can be found at www.thecolourfire.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.